Elena's heart thudded like a muffled drum in her chest as Derek's words sliced through the air in the glass-walled conference room overlooking the San Francisco Bay. "Who the hell are you? Anyway," he sneered, his voice dripping with that fake East Coast polish. The kind that came from Ivy League mixers and daddy's connections. It wasn't just a question, it was a dismissal. A casual gut punch meant to bury her under the weight of his ambition. She'd been there, at the far end of the polished oak table, her fingers tracing red ink over the regulatory compliance blueprint she'd poured her soul into for over a decade. This was the final push before the acquisition. Nights blurred into days fueled by black coffee and the gnawing ache of betrayal. Her badge still read Senior Compliance Architect, but to this slick newcomer, she was invisible. A relic in a world he planned to bulldoze. Derek slammed his fist on the table for emphasis, standing tall like he owned the skyline outside. "We're building the future here, folks. No more outdated protocols dragging us down. Think SpaceX, not Blockbuster." His eyes flicked her way. That smug curl of his lip saying it all. She was the Blockbuster, the dead weight he was here to scrap. Elena felt the heat rise in her throat, but she swallowed it down, her face a mask of calm. She'd seen his kind before, parachuted in by the CEO to disrupt the healthcare software firm they'd built from scratch. Derek, with his MBA glow and endless LinkedIn endorsements, thought compliance was just paperwork you shredded for fun. He'd been here barely a month, already slapping his name on every email chain, while she'd spent 12 years weaving the intricate web of data privacy frameworks that kept their medical records system HIPAA-compliant and unbreakable. But titles don't shield you when the guy above you golfs with the boss on weekends and quotes TED Talks like scripture. It escalated quickly. By midweek, Elena scanned the merger prep agenda and felt her stomach drop, her name scrubbed clean. Not even a footnote. She was relegated to attendee, a ghost in the machine she'd engineered. In the hallway, she cornered the new intern, who shifted uncomfortably. "Sorry, Elena. Derek said we need fresh vibes up front." Fresh vibes. As if her meticulously crafted risk assessments were stale bread. That night, she stayed late, the office humming with fluorescent ghosts, pretending to update audit logs. What she really did was duplicate the original data sovereignty chain, highlighting her signatures in blue highlighter, proof of the foundational code she'd co-authored back when the company was just a startup in a cramped garage. She didn't confront him. No, that would be too loud, too messy. Instead, she folded the documents neatly and tucked them into her messenger bag, staring at them like they were a loaded gun she wasn't ready to fire. Derek, meanwhile, rehearsed his pitch in the empty boardroom, gesturing wildly like a bad actor in a corporate infomercial. Elena watched from the shadows once, hearing him mutter about agile scalability and legacy purge. It burned, that casual theft of her life's work. But she turned it inward, letting it harden into resolve. The junior devs whispered in the break room about how Derek was going to wow the buyers from that big pharma conglomerate. She smiled faintly, said nothing, and later that evening, she mailed a certified copy of the IP lineage to the buyer's legal team overnight. Confidential. No return address needed. Derek announced it like he'd just won the lottery, arms flung wide in front of the projected timeline. "I'll be spearheading the final pitch," he beamed, shooting a bro nod at the CEO, who clapped like a seal at feeding time. "We gotta keep it dynamic. Forward-thinking, no cobwebs." Elena's section on regulatory dependencies vanished from the deck, as if her safeguards against data breaches were fairy tales. She flipped through the packet, her pulse steady but her mind racing. That afternoon, Restocking the printer in the supply closet because budget cuts meant even architects did grunt work. A young analyst pulled her aside. Eyes darting. Heads up. Elena. Derek's calling it a refresh. Says the old slides lacked punch. She nodded, the hurt twisting like a knife. But she kept her voice even. Of course. What she didn't say was that those old slides had shielded the company from 3 FDA audits. Her invisible armor now stripped away for his glory. Back at her desk, she pulled out a faded credential from her drawer, a laminated advisor card from the buyer's own compliance oversight board. She'd consulted quietly for years, offering unbiased insights on secure health data architectures, never leveraging it for personal gain. Now, she slipped it into her sleeve. A hidden ace. The betrayal stung deepest in its subtlety, like being airbrushed out of your own family photo. So she channeled it, opening a new file labeled Authorship Audit Trail, typing methodically, each keystroke a silent vow. They thought she was sidelined. They had no clue she'd designed the sidelines. Derek strutted into the rehearsal like a peacock in a power suit, his vest screaming, "Try hard, executive." He jabbed at charts, voice booming, "This is how winners operate lean. Mean. No baggage." The timeline he flashed? A fiction. Her contributions erased like pencil marks. The CEO ate it up. But Elena, exiled to the corner, cross-referenced it all in her mind. Later, in the server room, she verified the metadata, her commits, her timestamps. Buried but indelible. There it was, the provisional patent for the core encryption protocol, co-signed by Elena Ramirez and her old partner, Dr. Marcus Lee. Dated back to the company's infancy. She reprinted it, resigned it deliberately in black ink. The curve of her signature a quiet anchor in the storm. Derek didn't notice her quiet maneuvers. He was too busy coaching the team on optics mastery via Zoom, dropping gems like perception powers progress. By Thursday's mock run, he paraded juniors as faux buyers, dismissing Elena's outdated protocols with a wave. She nodded along, her silence not defeat but a coiled spring. That evening, she couriered the patent copy to Robert Klein, the buyer's head of due diligence, with a sticky note, "For IP verification ER. No fanfare. Just facts sharpening into weapons." By Monday, Derek was legend in his own mind, forwarding his own memos company-wide, coining complainment for his purge of what he called redundant regs, really just him trashing files he couldn't comprehend. The refreshed deck hit the drive. Her history rewritten. Her name a ghost. But Elena didn't rage. She accessed the locked compliance vault, emailed a terse note to legal, reference Doc 14.6b for full IP chain ER. Read receipts pinged back, including Derek's. No replies. But she saw his failed logins to the vault. He started hovering, fishing with fake questions. "Hey, where's the archive for old HIPAA mappings?" She gave monosyllables, her silence now a mirror reflecting his unease. On Wednesday, she accidentally left a commit log printout on the copier. He snatched it, stared, crumpled it, but not before she'd seeded the same in the buyer's audit portal. She wasn't chasing spotlight, she was etching permanence into the stone he'd tried to skip across. Derek entered the pre-meeting like a conquering hero, lapel pin gleaming under the lights. The room buzzed buyers, execs, the CEO beaming. Elena sat in back, notebook open. He launched in, "We've gutted the legacy drag, pure velocity now." A vague nod her way, "That old scaffolding? Obsolete." The buyer's GC paused his notes, eyes flicking to her. "Post-pitch." He tapped her chair, "Elena." In the hall, he cut straight, "You're the original architect." She handed him her advisor card. He nodded, Context noted. The final session? Derek's TED wannabe opener crumbled when the GC raised a finger. Quick IP check. He flashed her card. Co-author on the patent. Advisor to us. Derek stammered. She's just support. The investor's gaze turned icy. You erased her. Silence sliced deep. Elena stayed still. Her timing impeccable. MS. Ramirez, the investor, addressed her directly. You built the core protocol? Yes, she replied. Unadorned. The CTO chimed. We rely on it still, solid as rock. The focus shifted. Bryce, no. Derek faded. The GC, her contributions redefine valuation. Vindication bloomed not in shouts, but in restored lines on packets. Her title bolded. They huddled without him. Returned with revisions. Deal paused for re-verification. Her input central. Derek fidgeted. Tried one last stand. You know who I am. Right? The investor's retort. Do you know who she is? He deflated. Exposed. The close dragged. Her name now etched everywhere. Elena shook hands. Walked out. Legacy intact. Silence hadn't been surrender. It was the blade that cut cleanest. But the scar of betrayal lingered. A reminder of trust's fragile cost.